Hello, my name is Dana. I am with River's Edge Yoga, and today I'm going to guide us through a very sweet and lovely restorative yoga practice. Restorative yoga is designed to help calm the nervous system, quiet the mind, regulate the breath, bring you into a deep state of relaxation and ease. So we are going to utilize a variety of different props, and these props are here to help us relax and feel completely and fully supported, applying little to no effort at all. So today, what I have with me is 3 yoga blankets that look like this. I have this pillow and 2 yoga blocks. So if you have similar props to that, those will work just fine. You can also grab a bolster if you have it, pillows from the couch, from the bed, blankets. Towels are also really nice to be folded or rolled up as support. You want to also have maybe a sweater on and cozy socks, anything, a blanket to cover yourself with is also really nice because, again, the goal here is deep relaxation, quieting the mind, regulating the breath. So if you want to pause the video and gather those props, and then we'll get started. All right, so we are going to get started. I'm going to guide us through a few rounds of poses in which I'm going to instruct different ways that you can set yourself up, again, so you feel completely comfortable and relaxed with different varieties of props that you can use. At the end, when I guide us into what's called Shavasana, that's our final relaxation, you're going to lay comfortably on your back, again, with support and props as you need. And at that time, I'm going to also provide some chanting and simple sound healing. Sound healing and the vibration of sound has been also proven to calm the nervous system and, again, bring a deep state of calm and ease to our entire being. So I hope you enjoy, and let's do it. All right, so the first pose that I'm going to guide us into is called Supta Baddha Konasana, or goddess pose. So what I'm going to be using is 2 of my blankets that I basically have in a square there and then folded just in half. And I'm laying it vertically on the mat. It's going to be behind me. And I'm going to do that with another blanket as well. And then I like to have something under the base of my skull, under my head. It just makes me feel a little more comfortable. You might not need it, but good thing to have a pillow nearby for your head, which I'm laying right on the pillows. I'm using the 2 blocks, which are going to be supported under my knees, because we're going to have a pretty big external rotation of the legs. I'll give another option if that doesn't feel good for you, but you might want your blocks, or again, pillows, towels, blankets, anything that's going to give a little bit of support. Even books could work. This pose is going to help open us up through the chest, through the back, the shoulders. It's going to open us up in through the hips as well. It's going to help us deepen our breath and utilize some fuller inhalations. And again, I want you to feel very, very comfortable. If there's any point where you're not feeling comfortable, pause and adjust and trust yourself. Listen to your body. You'll know when you're in that right pose. And if you really need to remove the props and just lay on your back, that's fine too, and just focus on your breath. Okay, so I'm going to sit about a half inch or so in front of the folded blankets. I have my blocks that are set on either side of my legs. And I'm going to do a little bit of a tuck of my tailbone, just kind of lengthen the low back, and I'm going to gently lay myself back onto the blankets. The block is right underneath my head, the pillow's under my head here for a little extra support. You can start, with your knees bent and your feet flat if that helps you. And then what we're doing is bringing the soles of the feet together and opening the knees out. So I'm sliding these blocks underneath the knees, or you might even want to tuck them up a little higher under the thighs. You can use, again, more support if you need. And that is basically it. Another option, if this rotation of your legs really does not feel good, you can absolutely just keep your legs long out in front of you. Or another option is knees bent, feet a little wide, and your inner knees touching. So all of these are options, and you can even rotate between them if you want to experiment. So I'm going to go back into the pose. We're gonna start with our hands just resting comfortably on our low belly, right below the navel, and just let your elbows relax. And then closing your eyes or gently softening your gaze. And just take a few moments, take a few deep breaths here, and just kind of check in with yourself. Notice how you're feeling in the pose. And again, if you feel like you can make yourself 5 to 10% more comfortable in this shape, then take a moment and do that. This practice is about true self-care and really nurturing and nourishing yourself. And really giving yourself permission to relax. Much of our day is busy and hectic, and we don't allot ourselves this constructive relaxation. So as you start to settle into the shape, you're going to want to begin inviting your breath in. Maybe a little bit more clear on each inhalation and each exhalation. Your hands resting on the low belly. Mine just naturally wanted to slide open a bit and touch the side of the pelvis, so you can also do that if that's more comfortable. But start to welcome some breath into that low belly. So as you inhale, you kind of feel the belly expand like a balloon filling. And as you exhale, you feel the navel just softening back. Beginning to bring your mind to focus on the breath. We want to start to gather all the scattered threads of consciousness, the busyness of the mind, and draw it into this moment. And as you're welcoming just more awareness to your breath, you can start to bring your body into a bit more ease. Maybe even just starting by relaxing your forehead a bit, softening your eyes, letting your jaw relax. And again, just continuing with this gentle ebb and flow of your breath. Again, bringing your awareness to the belly as your inhalation fills the belly and your exhalation gently releases. With each breath, each exhalation, encouraging and inviting your body to let go into the props a little bit more. The further you can allow yourself to release, to empty the breath, to settle, the more space you'll have for a nice, full, nourishing inhalation. As you start to cultivate this rhythm to your breath, just seeing if you can balance your inhalations with your exhalations. So maybe it's about 3 to 4 counts as you breathe in, and 3 to 4 counts as you breathe out. So if you're enjoying the nice sort of grounding energy, loving energy of your own hands resting on your belly, you can keep them there. Or to just bring a little more expansiveness into the pose, you can just start to release your arms down by your side in a low V with your palms facing up. And you might automatically just feel how that opened up your chest a little bit more, allowing your shoulders to relax and just sort of melting around the prop behind your back. And we never want to force the breath or feel stressed about the breath. We're just maybe seeing if as you breathe in, you might allow the breath to start to move into the ribs and up into that openness in your chest and collarbones. And then you can enjoy a longer breath out as you feel the back relax, the ribs, the belly, the hips. And again, just maybe naturally you'll be able to invite in those fuller breaths. Each exhalation, giving yourself permission to relax. If you notice your mind wandering and beginning to think about the day that's passed or what's ahead, just kind of notice, no judgment. But rather than grasp on to those thoughts that are coming in, just see if you can kind of let them go, keeping them just ephemeral like the breath. And just draw your awareness back to the rhythm of your breath. If you notice a feeling or an emotion beginning to kind of arise in the body, again, no judgment, but you can invite your breath to the area of the body in which you're feeling that emotional energy. And breathe into it, a loving, calming breath. Our emotions can provide a lot of insight for us, but we don't need to hold on to them or let them define our entire experience. For this moment, we can kind of practice watching them come and making space for them to soften and maybe let go. I'm going to stay in the pose for one more minute. Really using this time to enjoy your breath. And just taking another deep breath in. If it feels right, you can even open your mouth and let the breath go out the mouth. And there's absolutely no rush at all, but we'll start to make our way out of the pose. So if your knees were open in this shape, you can start to, I usually even like to use my own hands to the side of my thighs to help close the knees up like a book. And it might feel nice to just stretch your legs long for a moment. And I even like to stretch my arms up and back behind me for a moment too. So again, trust what feels intuitive and right for you. And then exhale, sweeping the arms back up and down to your side. Bending the knees if you straighten the legs. I'm moving my props, my blocks out to the side. And then you can just really gently roll yourself off to one side and just rest in a fetal position for a couple breaths. My head is resting on my right upper arm. And then when you're ready, pressing that palm down to help slowly and gently lift yourself back up. And you can come to sit for just a moment, kind of recalibrate and reset before we move into the next pose. All right, our next pose we're going to go into is a supported twist. You're going to use the same blankets or setting you had in the last pose. I have another blanket on top for a little extra support. Depending on how tall you are or different shaped bodies, you might find that you want a higher bolster lift, or you might need to take some props away. I also have a pillow for my head. So I'm starting with the blankets angled slightly to the right, and they are right up to the right hip, middle of my right thigh. My knees are out to the side. You want to feel yourself grounded, sit tall, take a nice full breath in, and then you're going to start to twist the belly, the ribs, the chest, and you want to work to drape as much of the front part of your body over the bolster here, the blankets. So for a little more gentler twist, you'll have your right cheek down, so I'm facing the same way as my knees. My arms are in this nice sort of cactus shape here. If you had an extra blanket or pillow, you might want to put that between your thighs. That can also provide a little extra support. For a deeper twist, some of you might be interested in turning so your left cheek is down and you're facing the opposite way of your knees. So, settle yourself in and find your breath. And again, starting your breath in the belly, the low belly, and welcoming those nice full breaths in and long breaths out as you invite your body to let go into the twist. You'll feel your belly expand into these blankets beneath you. Twisting is very detoxifying for the body, gently wringing us out, very cleansing. Again, finding that rhythm to your breath. And encouraging your body to relax and settle with each exhalation. If you're finding the mind is very busy or hard to bring yourself into the breath, you can play with a simple mantra. As you inhale, silently say let. As you exhale, silently say go. Let go. We're going to stay for just another minute or two, so continue to breathe. Can you soften your face a little bit more? Let's take 3 to 5 more really deep, full breaths. And then no rush, but we'll slowly lift ourselves out of the pose and transition to the other side. So you can slide your hands back so you get a firm rooting down of the palms. And again, using the strength of your arms to really gently lift your body off of the bolster. If you had something between the legs, you can remove that from the knees. And then we're going to take the pose to the other side. I find it easiest to leave the props where they are. I'm just going to lift my knees up. The bolster blankets are behind me. And then I'm just going to turn my knees over to the left. You will have to kind of shift your blankets a bit to the kind of left angle here. And then find our way in to the other side. So again, coming in, it's going to feel a little bit intense as we move into the other side for a moment. Just be in your breath. We're going to inhale, grow tall. You're going to exhale, start to twist belly, ribs, chest. And then again, draping your body over the bolster. So you could again take the version where the left cheek is down and you're facing the same way as your knees. Or for that deeper twist, you can turn your head so the right cheek is down. For this, I'm finding that I might even want to, I'm going to try it out, fold my pillow up so I have a little bit more height. For me, that just feels better. So again, when we are coming into our practice, it's about deep listening and paying attention to what your body needs. Honoring where you're at. And you might notice one side felt a little tighter than the other, and that's normal. Our yoga practice is helping to guide us back to a state of balance. Start to find those deep, steady breaths. I should have mentioned as well, if at any point you feel like you need to come out of the pose sooner than I guide you out, absolutely do that. And you can choose to just sit or lay on your back. And after a few breaths, I'm feeling like I can maybe go a little deeper, so I'm unfolding my pillow. That can happen too as your body starts to relax and open. Perhaps as you're watching your breath, you can see if you can begin to elongate your exhalation. Taking a few extra counts as you breathe out, seeing if that can facilitate a deeper release and letting go into the pose, into the support. We're going to stay for another 2 minutes or so in the shape. Let's take about 5 or so more deep breaths. If your mind started to wander, see if you can draw it back in. Enjoy the breath. Know that each breath, each conscious breath is nourishing for your body, for your organs. Each conscious breath is bringing your mind into a greater state of calm. We'll take one more nice full breath here. Long breath out. And again, just taking your time to come up, you'll slide your palms back. Okay, our next sequence of poses, you'll need, again, your blankets or towels or possibly your pillow. So we're going to fold the one blanket a little bit differently. So if you have a classic yoga blanket, have it in this square, or again, you can use a towel. And you're going to do what we call kind of an accordion fold or a fan fold. So it just to make it go in threes. So it's a little thinner and a little bit higher. So again, it was like this and then a little fan fold. So that is going to go underneath my back. I have a pillow here for my head. You don't want anything too bulky under your head, but a little bit of support might be nice. And then maybe even extra blankets to have underneath your knees if you'd like. So what we're going to do, the blanket, when you lay back, it's going to be basically like right underneath the shoulder blades. So if the blanket continued, it almost would be coming right out from your armpits. And it's a nice big heart opener, chest opener. And again, some of you might want to go even higher with your padding, or some of you might need to take this roll down and have something really a little bit smaller, so it's not too deep of a stretch. So don't be afraid if you get in the pose to come back out and readjust so you are as comfortable as you can be. And I have these other blankets that I'm going to have under my legs, under my knees, so I'm already going to pull them up a little bit closer. And again, a little tuck of the tailbone. I'm laying back and I'm finding that sweet spot. So it's right, again, under the shoulder blades, essentially. So when I lay back, my shoulders kind of drape back, and you see this big, nice lift up in my chest. And again, for me, I'm just lately liking to have a little extra support under my head and neck. Again, nothing too bulky. And then I have these blankets under my knees for a little extra support. And then your arms can actually kind of open out into this loose kind of T pose out to the side. And that is basically where we're going to be for a few minutes. So again, make sure you feel at ease in the pose. Once you are situated, soften the gaze or close your eyes. This is a really nice pose, especially we're coming out of the winter months where we tend to grip and hunch from the colds. Also a really nice pose if you find yourself sitting at a desk a lot. This is going to give you a nice lift and openness across the back and the chest. So starting with, again, those nice breaths in the belly. And you're going to feel the breath naturally wanting to move into this space you've created across the chest and the upper back. So just finding that rhythm. As you exhale, inviting yourself to melt into the shape and relax. And if you feel emotions arising, remember that our emotions are like energy, ephemeral. They can move through us. They're not solid. We can take care of them with our breath. Thich Nhat Hanh says that our emotions, our strong emotions and feelings, to think of them like a little baby or a child who's upset, with that energy of wanting to take care of, to comfort. We don't want to judge or push it away. So we'll stay for just a few more moments here. Again, each breath, just lovingly taking care of yourself. Let's take another breath, really stretching the breath up through the ribs, into the chest, the collarbones, the throat, and then a long exhalation. And then we're just going to move right into the next pose from here. So I'm just going to gently bend my knees and place my feet down. I have the bolsters under my knees, so I'm actually going to just slide them a bit forward so I can get my feet firm onto the mat. If you have a lot of padding under your head, you might want to remove it because you don't want to stress your neck out in any way. But I'm just going to press firmly into my feet, and you want to move slowly because we're coming out of a deep pose. And I'm going to just start to lift my hips up. I want to lift up high enough where I can start to slide this blanket from my upper back down to my hips. And then it's right under the sacrum, the hips. I'm going to lower my hips down onto that padding. If for any reason that transition seemed not comfortable, you'll just roll out of the pose and then set yourself up like this. So the bolster is underneath the hips, the sacrum, the blanket. If you wanted extra support, you can also slide another blanket underneath. You have the option to stay here just with your feet on the mat, or a nice option would be to lengthen your legs up towards the ceiling. My knees are just softly bent, so the legs have the feeling of just kind of floating here. Reverse blood flow. A really calming pose. Also a great thing to do if you are on your feet all day. Another option for this pose would to be up against a wall with your seat to the edge of the wall and your legs supported at the wall. So if you're feeling that this is challenging in any way, you can also take that option. And again, your only focus, only concern now is your breath. We'll stay for another minute or so. If at any point you feel like you'd prefer your feet on the mat, absolutely bend your knees and make that adjustment. If your legs are still in the air, you can slowly bend one knee at a time, placing your feet down. And then we're going to move into our final relaxation, Shavasana. Also an option here, if you need to get up and get more props for this pose, please do. But if you're feeling good, can stay where you're at and just lift your hips to slide that blanket now down so it's by your feet there. Lower your hips flat onto the mat. And then you have the bolster underneath your thighs or knees. I have these extra blankets out there. If you want to roll to one side and tuck those under your knees for a little more height, you can. But for Shavasana, you want your body to just relax, even deeper than we have been. So the padding underneath the knees can help if you have any tension in your low back. Your legs can separate a little bit so they're about as wide as the inner mat. Your feet flop out to your side, the legs heavy. The palms face up in a low V by your side. You might even kind of slide your shoulder blades under the back, tuck your tailbone a bit towards your heels. This is a point when you might want to also cover with a blanket. Letting go of our rhythmic breath now. For Shavasana, you can just part the lips and take a breath in the mouth and sigh it out. And just encourage your body to let go and relax a bit more. And I'm going to have you stay resting in this pose. And I'm going to come up and bring in a little bit of that mantra and sound vibration healing. And the only thing you need to do is relax and let go. Om Bhurбhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo devasya dihimahi diyoyona prakshodayat Om Bhuvaswa Tatsavitu Varaniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhuvaswa Tatsavitu Varaniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhuvaswa Tatsavitu Varaniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And slowly start to deepen your breath. Gently feeling the belly rise and fall. Bringing yourself back with each breath. You can gently wiggle the fingers and toes. Roll the head from side to side. And just taking any gentle movements to bring yourself back. And when you're ready, you can gather your knees up to your chest, give them a little squeeze, gently rock from side to side, And then roll to the right side and rest in a fetal position for a few breaths. And then when you're ready, you can slowly lift yourself up and just come to a comfortable seat. And I'll close our practice with the sound of Om. If you'd like, you can join your palms together in Anjali Mudra. It's a prayer gesture at the heart. And just connecting to a sense of gratitude for this body and this breath and the chance to practice together. And taking a deep breath in. Aum.